So if you're thinking about moving to Dupont, Washington, I've lived here for 19 years. So in this video, I'm gonna unpack everything you need to know, the pros, the cons, and what it's like to live in Dupont, Washington. First things first, this is a small town. And so what you'll see is on the cons list, it's sort of lacking in some of the amenities that you would typically find in a larger city. But just so you're aware, the town is going to continue to grow. There's actually a plan in place right now for a lot of the services that are currently missing to be added to the community eventually, along with a lot more housing. So the main thing that I really love about living in Dupont is that it's very walkable. It's a master plan community for one. It actually won a national award for the design of the community. So when you actually design a community in advance, typically you're gonna find integrated parks and green spaces, and it has a flow to it where traffic is decent, people can get around, people can walk, and you'll definitely see that here. And so all in all, there's roughly 30 miles of walking trails. I would say that's one of the biggest pros and the biggest assets of the community is that they are nice, groomed paths that are actually maintained. But the biggest con is that you don't have a major grocery store. Like there's no Kroger or Safeway or Albertsons here. And so everybody that lives here has to plan a little bit ahead for their bulk shopping. So they're either gonna go on JBLM on post if they're military, or if they're like me and they're not military, what they're gonna end up doing is going to Costco or driving to Lacey. So you plan this whole thing once a week. And of course, a lot of people use Instacart these days, so they don't even actually go buy their groceries. But that lack of an actual grocery store is very annoying and irritating at times. But I can tell you, Mint and Mercantile here in town is the closest thing that we have to a grocery store. They have amazing food. They actually have a little area where you can sit and eat the stuff that they actually, offer, which is breakfast and lunch and everything that you could possibly want. Prices are gonna run a little high for the basic amenities. So if you're gonna go in there and buy some fruit or any basic necessities, they do have those, but you're gonna pay a little bit extra, but it's not terrible and it works in a pinch. The second thing that I really love is it's a tight-knit community. There's a lot of events. And so there is a movie night with the kids, a big screen TV in the park. There's pancake feasts. There's always stuff going on with the elementary school. There is a big run on Saturdays where the military folks get together and dedicate their run to fallen soldiers. It's called Wear Blue, Run to Remember. And so there's a lot of really cool events that you wouldn't get if you lived in a neighborhood that was outside of town. So whenever you have a small town, there's not a lot of homes for sale, there's not a lot of homes for rent, there's not a lot of apartments. And so major con is there's just kind of a lack of housing options for people. What you'll find is if you plan ahead though, it's not that hard to get into the community. The overall investment is going to be a little bit higher. Here you're gonna pay for convenience as opposed to if you went south and you were in Lacey or Olympia. And that convenience is either access to Tacoma or the areas up north, or it's the convenience to get on the military base, because in Dupont, if you live here, you can actually get on JBLM, Joint Base Lewis McChord, without ever getting on the freeway. So another major pro that a lot of people don't seem to really know about, except for the people that live in town, is there's a nice walking path where we can get direct beach access. It's a little bit of work to get down there, just so you know. So if you ever want to walk down the Sequalitchew Trail, plan to have a little time. And the last time I took the family there and we were walking down there, and it was a little bit of a warm day and there were some people that had some sweaty faces coming back up. But once you get down there, it's really nice to just have private beach access for the community. One of the major cons though is when you have a small town, you have limited businesses, which means you have limited restaurants. So what this means is you have the pizza place that's awesome, Forelli's, you have an Irish pub, and you have assortment of other locations where you could go eat. But if you're looking for the true sit-down dining experience, you're left with like kind of a couple of places that are open the normal hours that you would want to go to. Not unlike a bigger city where you'd have tons of options. So here they're going to be limited. And along that same line, those are going to be your options at night. So if you're the person that likes to go out, you're going to be stuck with kind of two places, and then you're going to be on the road, you're going to be driving, you're going to be going to Olympia or Tacoma. So nightlife is not necessarily a thing in Dupont. It kind of shuts down, so to speak, unless you're at those couple of locations. One thing that's really underrated here, so talked about the trails, is that we have a USGA golf course. The home course, it's an amazing place to play golf. So if you're a golfer, you will love having this in your backyard. All right, so one major con is the traffic. All right, so we're really close to an area of I-5 that's really tough to bypass. And so if there's an accident on the freeway, the traffic actually piles up right in front of Dupont all the time. And it's not as disruptive as that may sound, but especially if there's an accident, the routine traffic part of it is a thing because, again, we're so close to where people go into the main gate of JBLM that a lot of the times you are dealing with traffic. So one thing that people really love about the area, especially if they have kids, is that the schools are very new. And so the facilities are nice. There is a con there though, in that the fact that the elementary school is split between Dupont and actually Sequalitchew. So there's a little bit of a drive there. So if you're a parent and you have a kid that's, in a lower grade and you have a kid that's in a higher grade of elementary school, you may not be able to pick them up at the same school and drop them off. Other than that, the middle school here is fairly new. It's pretty state of the art. And the high school is actually in Sequalitchew as well. And so the kids aren't going to be, very close. They're going to have to go to Sequalitchew, so riding the bus or you're driving them there. It's not terribly far away. There's one road that takes you there. And so, but you're going to be driving, 10, 15 minutes depending upon where you live in Dupont. So another con of the area is that with it being a small town, the other services that you may see in a bigger town are limited. And so if you want to pick up your prescription medication, for instance, and you're used to being able to drive right down the street or to a local Walgreens, that doesn't exist here. It actually did for a period of time. There was a local pharmacy, but that didn't last. And so right now you have to drive for some additional services, so pharmacy and medical and that sort of thing. It doesn't have a big presence here. There's a dental presence, there's a chiropractic presence, there's a vision presence, but those other things still are lacking. But I think that the community involvement, the walkability, and a lot of the other really strong factors really make up for that. So if you are looking to make a move, you have more questions about Dupont, lean on me. I know everything about this town. You can reach out to me. There's a description below with contact information. And if for some reason this just didn't seem like it was the fit for you, we have videos about the surrounding areas. So Lacey, Olympia, Puyallup, all these different spots. And just let us be a resource for you.